Thank you very much for your interest. I'm talking to you today about trends we see as supplier with respect to the scope of supplies and services for pilot plants. We as a manufacturer of equipment or corrosion-resistant equipment made of borosilicate glass and glass-lined steel, we're doing, beyond others, process plants for corrosive processes, as for example this sulfuric acid concentration plant, or for bromine plants, or even for complex acid recovery plants here in context with an industrial nitration process. The standard scope of supplies, as we as supplier providing, of course, is the process itself. That's something what we have been developing throughout the last decades in our own trial facilities with our own chemists and chemical engineers. Thereon we base our basic engineering, the detailed engineering, manufacturing, procurement, in-house assembly, delivery of course, and then the supervision of installation and commissioning. All this requires a decent amount of project management. It's an essential task, an essential ability to have. But beyond these, let's say, core supplies, we're doing more and more other supplies, as for example, the after-sales service, which is a core type. Sorry, we are looking for that as well as our customers. No, we are taking over more and more also, let's say, supplies as utilities, piping, up and downstream integration and interfaces. These are services and supplies also supplied by contractors, but we are doing that more and more. All this is nothing new. What is new is that the same scope of supplies and services is also required for pilot plants as they become more and more complex. And to give you a bit of an idea what I mean with that, I give you some pictures here of a batch reactor, core pilot plant, just an example. That can also be integrated into an existing GMP synthesis plant, makes it already a bit more complicated, or we supply it within multi-story modules, including the primary steel structure, piping, utilities, and other accessories to get the things running. But it can be even also a complete clean room where we supply along our equipment with it. And this, as can be seen, can be quite complex with respect to the project management, at least as complex maybe as a process system. So it's important to have it, and here we're glad to have this know-how, this ability developed since decades. Another thing just would like to mention is the detailed engineering, which becomes more and more, of course it's 3D since decades from our side. For the construction of the pilot plants, it used to be, to exaggerate a bit, nice to have, although it improves, of course, the efficiency of our construction. It's also once in a while a nice to have a thing for sales promotional aspects. But here, if we're talking about to integrate our equipment into such an infrastructure, it's obvious that the 3D design is a must and no more nice to have. And another thing which we see as a trend, and we were quite surprised about that, is that we get more and more involved in the process development for small-scale production units from our customers. This used to be a core task or core action from our customers, and they are starting to outsource this more and more. And we are happy to do this to assist them because, I mean, we have our trial facility, we have our chemists and chemical engineers, so this is something we like to do. And there's a nice side effect on that. When we do the process development, here we do it with our own equipment, which makes it a bit more easy for us, much more easy, to improve the design of our pilot plant with respect to handling and functionality. That gives a bit the bridge towards Achema, where we show pilot plants for a huge or wide range of chemical process steps. The process plants would not fit on the booth, but such pilot modules, yes, they will. And we're showing there, for example, for reaction, filtration, drying, distillation, extraction, and absorption, a wide range of these chemical process steps. And I give you a small sneak preview how this will look like. We're taking here advantage a bit of our, let's say, 3D abilities and the sales promotional aspects. You see here we will have a new pharma version of a glass-lined 1,000-liter Optimix reactor, fully instrumented. And it'll look like this. It's a cut of a reactor, so you can see all the internals. For filtration and drying, you will see state-of-the-art drying options and contained powder handling. With respect to distillation, you will see an update of our proven rotor test. A rotary evaporator is one of the most versatile evaporation process, and here we're presenting it with innovative measurement and controls. With respect to extraction, we will present a two-stage mixer settler module with an improved mixing and pumping chamber. And for absorption, we'll see a module ready for operation, just to be plugged into the power supply and the vent line. All the controls and anything what is required is included. This gives you an overview about our innovative solutions and services we're likely to present there. All these solutions are basically done for corrosive and pharmaceutical applications, and hence, of course, for the chemical and pharmaceutical industry. I'm telling you that because with having the ability to design such processes and equipment for these industry, also able to do this for the so-called green chemistry, so that we get more and more customers from the food and fragrance industry, another trend what we see at our side. The exhibits, the solutions shown on Achema, they're just what I have been showing here, animated on this nice PowerPoint presentation. On Achema, you will see them running, operating. So at least those in borosilicate glass, you may not have, you may have not hands-on, but eyes-on possibilities to look on the process. So we'll be glad to welcome you on our booth on Achema. Thank you very much.